Hey everyone, Doug Kenny here, along with my coach and mentor, actor Andy McPhee, and we welcome you to Tales from the Mat. And today we have Connor. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, really good, mate, and thank you for having me on your show. Andy, really good to see you, mate. It's been a while.
I know, mate. It's actually been more than a while because I am actually greyer than you, but I remember you as a young bloke with long black hair and a beard, and I said, look at us now, mate. We're still here.
yeah, we're still here. And I've almost caught up to your greyness too. So
I know. I got a pretty good white beard going on here.
No, you do, mate. You do. It's mine's getting there. It's funny because I was at the beach the other day and I've got this blonde streak now. And I don't know how I got it, but I sat in the sun for about 2 hours and that's how I came out. So I might try that with the beard next time.
Yeah, try it with the beard. I might go and try that myself, mate. Then I'll look like Gorgeous George.
You look like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, right. Well, that could be a good wrestling name.
Well, it won't be bad.
Hey, thanks for joining us. And Doug, how you doing from Arizona? I'm in Los Angeles. And what part of Melbourne are you from, Con?
Well, I'm from Melbourne, Australia.
From Melbourne, right? Okay, awesome, buddy. I wasn't sure whether you shifted around or the law's chasing you and you've had to be on the run for a while. You look like an outlaw.
Well, you know, I have moved from suburb to suburb and changed image. So every suburb I walk into, you know, people tend to know me after like 5 minutes. It's like, oh, isn't that the guy? It's like, oh, bloody hell, I have to go and move again now.
Yeah. You got those wanted posters keep changing.
It's haunted me since my wrestling days. And you know what it was? It was that name, Psycho Kid Thunder. Everywhere I went, it's like, isn't that Psycho? Yeah, I'm Psycho.
I love it, mate. All righty. So as we, start the program off, just share a little bit how it started. Doug and myself, I've been an actor for 33 years. My kids, I started them off when they were quite young. How I got into my acting career was because of my wrestling career. 33 years ago, I was in my wrestling, a few years into wrestling, and they wanted us to do a commercial on TV in Melbourne, in Adelaide, Australia, for Hungry Jacks. And I did that. And I went, well, this is easy. And that's how the acting career took off. And to this point now, my son, Cody, as you're probably aware, just got awarded a Golden Globe for his latest role in Power of the Dog. So, you know what? When I'm coaching people, I just tell them, if you really got that thing inside you that's restless and you want to try different things, you got to keep moving. That's the only reason I got to where I am now. And meeting Doug in the States, and me and him have had this, Doug and myself had this great relationship. We built amazing platforms, and because I wrestled, Doug said, why don't we do one on wrestling? And that, so yeah, cool. So that's how it all started. So it's awesome to catch up with everybody again, mate. Doug, do you hit Con with a start off with a few questions, mate?
Yeah, Con, what made you get into wrestling?
Okay, so wrestling, as you know, here in Australia wasn't or hasn't been as popular as the US. But there was a stint of time where it was on even pars with the US. And that was around the time that wrestling here in Melbourne at Festival Hall was going on. And that was in the 70s, late 60s and 70s. And I remember waking up on a Sunday and listening to my dad and my grandma talking about these guys. And to me, they were like superheroes. You know, your Mario Milanos, your Andre the Giants, your Spiros Arians, Waldo Von Erich, Bulldog Browser. So all of them. And I was just fascinated with that. And I asked many times for him to take me down to Festival Hall, and they were saying, nah, you're way too young. There's no way, you'll be going to any of this stuff. So I grew up listening to their stories. And then around the early 80s, we started getting probably 3-minute, preview matches of the US on Wide World of Sport. So that program started from about midday till about 5 p.m. And I would watch the whole program just to get these 2 minutes of footage from a match in the US. And then when I was about 17, I had started going to the gym with my brother, and I met a Melbourne wrestler by the name of Jim Demirov. And I got to know him really well, and I asked him if he could train me and get me into wrestling. And at that time, wrestling wasn't really going on here. There was probably an event maybe every 6 months or 10 months. And he refused to train me. So for the next 10 years, I was hounding him to train me. And then eventually he put me on to George Giulio when I was about 25 years old or 26 years old. And that's how I got into it. And I started training. And with 3 months, they got me my first match. And back then, there was no events going on, but there was a nightclub by the name of Stylist. And it was an old restaurant, and they turned into a club. And they were putting on matches at 2 a.m. So I would be working all day. Do you remember the Stylist days?
Yeah.
Yeah. So at 2 a.m., we would make our way down at 11 p.m. and wait there until there was an opening, and you'd go into this makeshift boxing ring that was as hard as telling it was like concrete, and the ropes were all flimsy, and you go in and you put a 3.5 minute match for all these drunk people, and it was just crazy. And I did that for about 12 months before I got my first professional bout, and that was on Dominic's promotion, and that was out at Carlton down at Lygon Street. Yeah,
Fat Dom. God rest his soul. Yeah, he was a good guy. He had a big heart. He did a lot for wrestling. There was a lot of promoters back that time. And is Jim still with us, or is Jim passed away?
Jim's still with us. Jim's still with us. He retired a long time ago, but he's still with us. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, he's a great guy. He used to wrestle he used to wear a mask, I think, a lot of the times. But you're right, mate. There was look, mine sort of started off the same, I guess, watching, the Sunday afternoon wrestling. My dad would watch it, and he wasn't right into it. I loved it. And he used to say to me, he goes, "Why do you like this? It's all nonsense. It's all fucks." No, I love it, Dad. Watching Mario and all those guys. And the crazy part, and I'm sure you get it too, is when I took up wrestling after my long judo career and wrestling career, I saw an ad in the paper, they wanted wrestlers. I went, "Hey, okay, I'll go do it." And then the funny thing is I was wrestling Mario later in my career. Like, we was just me and him all the time because we're both the same height. He was a good guy, the bad guy,
Yeah.
And great, because he's rest his soul. He's a cool guy. Really like Mario.
Mario was great, and rest his soul too, because he passed away a few years back now.
And like, he was such a gentle giant, like a big man, big solid man. Even into his 70s, he was still a big guy. But can I ask you something? Good question too, Doug. Can I ask you something? What was it felt like for you when you had your first match, like your very first match, even if it was at Stylist? And then what was the difference between that and then when you got onto the bigger programs and started working regularly?
From my first match at Stylist, it wasn't as daunting because there wasn't many people there. It was late or early in the morning, and I think the excitement really took over my body, because the way Jim Demirov, because in my very first match I wrestled Jim Demirov, and it only went for about 3.5 minutes, but it was choreographed the whole way. So the thing for me is that I lost track of the nervousness because I was trying to remember the routine of the whole thing. And it's like, and then when we got in there, it was just like move after move after move after move for 3.5 minutes so we can give them everything. And then once the match was finished and I went back to the dressing room, it's like, wow, was that it? But from that first match until the latest match that I've had, the nerves still kick in.
Yeah.
And just before you walk through that door, it's like these butterflies turn into moths and they want to just rip out of your stomach. And as soon as you walk through the curtains and you see the crowd and your music is going wild, you just forget about the nerves and you get straight into, and you focus into your character and you go out there and you do the job. So, but the nerves 25 years later are still there.
Yeah, right.
You never lose that.
And, that's really true. And the funny, I'm just going to sort of just share something. When you said the matches are choreographed, I know when we first started, they did that to help guys first, because it's not, this is something that confuses some people. And nowadays people know that, yes, it's an entertainment art, but I tell people, don't get confused because someone says the matches are work. That's got nothing to do with it. I can guarantee you that anyone who thinks that pro wrestling is easy has no idea what pro wrestling's like, because you look at MMA fighters. I did judo for a long time. I wasn't the best judo player, but I did a lot of competitions, national competitions, won some, lost more than I won. Black belt for many years. I did freestyle wrestling, Greco, Roman style. But, I had less injuries in that. Oh, my God. Then as soon as I started pro wrestling, man, you can't, if you don't look after yourself, you're going to come out with a wrecked body, because you're letting people throw you around the ring. It's not like MMA. We all get that. So what I share with people, some matches when you start off early are choreographed so that you don't get hurt as a beginner. So you know what you're doing. As you get further on into the matches, a lot of times little things worked out, but you get in there freestyle with a couple of things, fancy moves, but then you just go for it. And that's when your skill of a pro wrestler takes in, because you can read the other guy, he can read you. But it's like a circus. You're watching people on the tightrope, you're watching people on the trapeze. They're highly trained, but boy, it's still like, oh my God. So that's pro wrestling.
That's exactly right. And that's why I keep telling people, like they say, well, is it choreographed? Well, it's like, look, two guys, they're both entertainers. They need to put on a show for the crowd. Now, if I get you in an arm lock, and then I try to do an arm drag, if you don't go with me, your socket is being popped out, mate. I'm telling you now, because you need to go with it. If not, then that's how injuries occur, because one tries to be better than the other, and it's not what we're it's not what we are there as entertainers. We need to work together, and if you get me into a move, as wrestlers, we learn all these moves, so we know what you're planning to do. If you don't go with it, you're going to get hurt. Plain and simple.